Hey, it's Sonia, and welcome to the SMARTA Podcast. Hi, and welcome back to another SMARTA Podcast episode. I'm super excited for you to get inside today's conversation with me and Jordan Toma. I promise you, this guy will motivate you. So let's get into it. Jordan Toma is a top motivational and mental health speaker in the United States and the inspiring force behind the viral video, A Message to Every Student. He is the inspirational author of I'm Just a Kid with an IEP that has sold over 150,000 books worldwide, with a social media presence exceeding 3.9 million followers. Diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD, Jordan struggled academically and emotionally growing up, feeling left behind and misunderstood. But instead of letting those challenges define him, he used them as a fuel for his mission. Over time, Jordan learned, my struggle is my strength. Today, I wear that like a badge of honor. And he now travels around the United States speaking at schools and events, inspiring the students, parents, and educators and leadership with his raw, relatable message. You are more than your struggles. Jordan is passionate, energetic, and brutally honest, and his work is all about helping others realize that even when the odds feel stacked against you, you can rise, thrive, and own your path. Jordan has motivated thousands of people at speaking engagements in 27 states, and in 2024 alone, Jordan inspired over 50,000 people at 125 events. Now, he fills rooms with hope. Amazing! Jordan Toma, welcome on the SMARTA Podcast. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited for you to be on the show. I mean, you're a nationally recognized motivational speaker. You're the author of this amazing book, I'm Just a Kid with an IEP. You've got energy, honesty, and your story has impacted thousands of students, parents, and educated across the country. You went from struggling with learning challenges and self-doubt to building this amazing and extraordinary life filled with purpose and power. For the person listening today, whether they're students who feel unseen, parents trying to support their kids, or educators that look for a deeper connection with their classroom students, what would you say are the top 3 key takeaways that they'll walk away with from today's conversation?
I think one of the takeaways is
this episode is brought to you by SMARTA, an executive search and talent advisory firm that knows people are the true engine of any organization. SMARTA doesn't just fill roles, they find the right match, aligning talent with culture to unlock real potential. Because sometimes what makes someone extraordinary isn't on their resume. It's what's waiting to be discovered. Learn more at www.samare.com. What would you say are the top 3 key takeaways that they'll walk away with from today's conversation?
I think one of the takeaways is when you look at your children, right? Look at the things they struggle with and look at their gifts, right? Everyone has gifts and everyone has things they struggle with. So as you look at them and you see the things that they struggle with, you want to push them to overcome that, right? And the reason why you want to push them to overcome that is because the effort they're going to have to put in to overcome that, they eventually will use for their gifts down the road. But you got to go through the hard stuff first. So a lot of times in life, especially with kids growing up, like you see that they're going to struggle first, right? Because they're trying things, they're young. And as parents, it's hard to see your kids struggle. But if you can work with them and understand as a parent inside that it's going to be okay, because on the other side of it, they're going to get to their gifts anyway, and you see their gifts, because every parent can see their gifts in their kid, it kind of relieves the parent of this worry, because that's what I want to do. Like when I wrote this book for the kids and the parents, because I remember my mom being so worried. But you don't have, if your kid's struggling with anything in life, yes, as a parent, naturally you're going to be worried, but they will be okay. They will, because they're going to overcome this, and then they're going to get to where they're supposed to be because of what they had to overcome. So that's one takeaway. The other takeaway, I would say, build your kids up and the people around you towards the things that they are naturally good at. Build them up on those things. If they're not good at math, but they're good at building things, build them up on that, right? And then, okay, we'll figure out the math, but build them up on that stuff. Find the things that they really like and they connect with. And then the third thing is really constantly connect with them. Ask them like how their day is. Talk to them. Try to build a real relationship. Like I know as a parent, there's this thing where like, it's out there where it says, hey, you can't be your kid's friend, right? You're their mom, you're their dad, right? But I feel like this is the way that I feel for kids. It's like, hey, this is their childhood. You're their mom, you're their dad, and you could be their friend. Why not? Right? Why not? Because that breaks the wall down. Like we're all in this together. You want your kids to be transparent. You want your kids to tell you everything. You want to know everything and then tell you things. And if you're just like, hey, I'm your parent, I'm your friend, they're not going to do that. Build that connection with your kids, and you'll be able to figure out everything that's going on with your intuition plus the connection.
I love that. Right before I take you up to the point where everything started, I wanted to mention here this beautiful thing too that your mom Debbie actually said in one of the USA Today's interviews. Never give in, because we may be your most public enemy for our child today, but tomorrow we'll be their hero. And I just
Yes.
think you always never forget to fail or to mention your mom, which has been this
Right.
amazing person. You describe her as a fighter. And your story is raw, it's super relatable. I love your energy. And you have the saying that your biggest struggle, in your case, your learning disability, has become your greatest strength. Can you take me
Right.
back to that moment in the mirror where everything shifted for you? What did you say to yourself, and how did that promise shape your path?
Yeah, like I remember exactly when I made this promise. So my mom was the only reason why I got into college. I got denied from every college, 15 colleges. She begged this one school to accept me. They said, "We'll accept him if he comes to the summer school to prove to himself." Because I had a 1.7 GPA. I failed everything. I didn't have anything to show for. And they didn't want to bring me in because they had other students, and it really wasn't, I failed out of my first high school. Everything wasn't good on paper. And my mom said, hey, you don't judge him off the paper. I know him. He needs a new place. He needs people to believe in him. He needs to change his life. This is the place. And I was so mad at my mom. And usually the ones who love you the most, right? Like I tell everyone, there's the most annoying person in your life,
Yeah.
and they become the target in your life too. Like you're the only, you lash out at them because they're the only ones like kind of in front of all the battles with you, and they're the only ones there. So you're gonna fight with them. You're gonna blame them. Everything's because of them. And my mom, I was so mad at my mom for making me go here. I thought she made this program to ruin my life. I thought this was like the worst day. I thought my life was over. And I remember she left me at this college, and I know it was hard for her to leave me there. I was mad. I was crying. And I was in the bathroom, and I didn't want the kids to see me crying because I was in college. I was 18 years old, never passed an assignment on my own, never knew what it felt like to get a good grade, nothing. I never did it. And I'm in college. I'm so nervous. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror. And I remember when I looked at myself, like I hated how I felt. Not like what I saw in the mirror, but like when I saw myself, I saw kind of how I felt about myself. And I just hated that feeling. I felt like I was so mad. Like every time in my life I got to this point, I quit on myself. Every time I just quit. And I never pushed past it. And I never just listened to what my mom was saying. I just would think she was just trying to ruin my life. So I never gave it enough thought to really maybe, hey, what if my mom is right? And I'm looking at myself, and I just said, like, what if my mom is right? That's all I asked myself in the mirror. And I just like shut the lights off. I went to bed. I woke up on time. I went to my first class. And I never took notes in class because I can't read my handwriting. So, but I did it anyway. I rewrote. It looked back then in college, the professor would have a PowerPoint right on a smartboard, and they would do the class, and everything would be on there. So I would just write every single thing on the smartboard because I didn't know what to study. So I just wrote every word. I literally just copied the PowerPoints onto a notepad that I couldn't read anyway. But I did it. But as I would rewrite things, I realized, hey, wait a minute. I don't get what I just wrote. But if I rewrite this like 50 times, I'll get it. So I started rewriting every single thing all night long in the library. I would go to tutors after my class, but I would always rewrite all my notes all night long. That's all I would do. I would just rewrite them. I would listen to music and rewrite till like 11 o'clock at night. And I would run out of ink, but that was like my tech. That was like I felt like I figured something out. So that's why I was obsessed with doing it. And I never did that before. So then I had my first English paper due in college. I did it. It was this assignment, it was a paper. I handed it in. 2 days went by, and the professor gave me a grade back, and I got an A. And it was the first A I ever got in my whole. I never got a grade back in my life. I was 18, but that was my first grade ever, and it was an A. And I remember when I got it, like everyone else is just getting grades back. They're normal. Right? I'm looking at it, and in my mind, I was like, my mom was right. And I realized at that moment, I said, my mom was right the whole time. And I sold myself short my whole life because I thought I was dumb. I thought I wasn't smart. I thought I didn't have a good brain. I thought just didn't have it. Everyone else had. And I wanted that. But I did, but it was underneath all the struggle, right? I had to do things 50 times in a row. I had to work harder to get to the same result. But my mom was right. And I made a promise to myself. I realized I was one moment away, right? I tell the kids all the time, like every one of us, all of us are one moment away, but it might be 18 years, it might be 20 years, but it's one moment that all the hard work makes sense, right? All the doubt, all the worries, but you get to that moment, you're like, wait a minute, like I was one moment away. So I'm like, I'm going to make up for lost time. Like I just gave up on myself my whole life on everything. So I said to myself, whatever I do, school, studying, work, business, I am going to give it everything I have, leave nothing on the table, take every chance, every risk, everything. And I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm never looking back. Yeah, I walked for the 4 years. I was scared, nervous every day, but I told myself I was never going back to that doubt, right? Because I was never going to let myself not make it. I was never going to sell myself short. I was never not going to bet on myself. I can do this. And my mom was right. And then I just took off running. And from that point on, I'll tell you, I was 18. It was 2008 that summer. My mindset, I'm 35 now. My mindset is exactly the same. Like I woke up, I would go to the gym at 5 a.m. in college. I'd work out. I'd go to class. I'd study. I made friends. My friends would go out. I would study because I knew if I had a test in a month, I had to start studying a month before. They could study the night before and get the same grade as me, but I needed a whole month to study. So I had to do this, but I was on that. I've been doing this, like I've been living this way since 18 years old, and now I'm 35, but that's where my struggle became my strength because I struggled for 18 years to figure it out. Everything was hard for me, everything. And things still are hard for me. What that really means when your struggle is your strength is you're going to struggle, you're going to struggle, you're going to struggle, but you're going to get through it. You're going to overcome it. And then, like I said before, you're going to get to your gifts. And then you're going to take the efforts you put in when you struggled and you apply it to your gifts. And then that becomes your strength. And now, oh, you want to write a book? I'll write a book. I just passed chemistry. That was hard. I can write a book. I can do that. You're gonna go speak to 1,000 kids. I could do that. I did math in college. That was hard. I had to stay up all night long to figure that out. So that's where your struggle becomes your strength, and then you don't really you lose that fear ability because I already had all that fear. I already worried everything away. I don't care if I fail. I don't care if I lose everything. I'll still always be ready to come back because I failed everything. I've made mistakes. Nothing ever worked out. So that's the key behind it. But it's a long road to get there. So when I go to these schools, my job when I get in there is, hey, show them that they're not alone, but show them, hey, this is the road you're going to take. But on the other side of all this, it's all going to make sense. But right now you can't see it. And I'm up there saying, look, I'm here. You're coming too. Don't give up because along the way, you can go down any avenue you want before you get there. But those kids deserve to get to their moment. And I want everyone to get to that moment because I know what it feels like. So that's really what that actually means when it comes together. And it took me a long time. At 18, I wasn't there. I was still in like the struggle mode. I started like, when I started getting older, when I became an advisor, when I started writing my book, when I started my business, when I started buying real estate, all that stuff, that's when everything kind of came together. And I started to see it a little clearer.
Can I just say, everything that you do is so inspiring, and I feel like one of your children in the assemblies now, like having up this chair, asking you to sign my forehead. I get all that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I want to take you back to when you were younger, because in your book, you describe your IEP as a permanent name tag. You have this beautiful metaphor carrying all the way through your foreword, and it says you're not as smart as everyone else. What would you say now to your younger version of you that carried that belief with everything that you think about now that, actually, I got through it. It's amazing.
Like if I ran into my younger self right now, like thinking that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would tell my younger self that right now you think that label means you're not smarter than everyone else, right? You think that, and it feels like that, and it's going to feel like that for a long time. But what's happening is you're just winding up, right? And everyone winds up at a certain pace, and everyone has a different finish line. And I would tell my younger self that, hey, you're going to wear that name tag. You're going to wind up and you're going to wind up and everyone's going to look like they're taking off before you. But eventually you're going to take off. And all that means is that the longer it takes to take off, the tighter the wind up. And then you're going to fly past everyone. You're just taking off a little bit later, right? Because you're going to have to overcome things that maybe others aren't going to have to overcome. That's all that means. But that name tag is actually the reason reason why you're going to make it. And that's what I would tell myself, because I didn't know that. I thought that was a name tag that was going to be the reason why I was never going to be okay. And I thought I was never going to be able to do anything. I used to see my dad go to work and think, I'm never going to go to work. I can't even do it. I can't even do the cash register without messing up, and I never understood anything on the first time. It took me like 10, 15 times to just get it when everyone else was flying by. So I would let my younger self know that, you're just winding up. It's all going to be okay, and explain that to them and show them how this is the effort that you're going to put in. You're going to use this later. Right now, maybe not, but later you will use it.
Absolutely. I want to get back to what I was saying about, I feel like one of your students in the assembly room, because your talks and when you visit all these assemblies, they aren't just motivational, they're really transformational. I mean, when you talk with over 700 students at the time, and then you finish, they all line up, you've got that CBS interview where they described you as, you've entertained people like they're at the Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, what do you think resonates most with the students that you speak to? And what do you really hope that they carry with them after they hear your speech?
So what resonates with them, I think, is that, so when I go into these assemblies, like I've worked my way through this, right? So the beginning, nobody would book me. Nobody answered my calls. Nobody answered my emails. I called, let me tell you something. I DM'd. I had 1,000 followers maybe in 2017. And I DM'd every motivational speaker, every one of them, and said, hey, any advice? Nobody answered me. Everyone, people I looked up to, people I listened to, nobody ever responded to me, ever. And all I wanted was advice. I didn't want any help. I didn't want any give outs. I just wanted to give me some advice. I asked advice to everybody. Nobody answered me.
I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor for this episode, Computer Generated Solutions. In today's fast-moving business world, the right partnerships make all the difference. With over 4 decades of expertise, CGS delivers world-class business applications, enterprise learning solutions, and outsourcing services across 45 countries. From fashion and healthcare to finance and technology, CGS helps businesses scale efficiently and elevate customer experiences. Find out how CGS can support your company's success today by visiting www.romania.cgsinc.com.
Nobody answered me. And I would just go speak everywhere I can. I would just say, please let me in. I'll do it for free. I did everything. And I started speaking in schools, and I learned that most of these assemblies are, someone comes in and they just speak, right? And I was like, if I want to reach these kids with my message, I got to connect with them, but I got to put on a show that is fun, that is engaging, and it's kind of like school's out, right? I got to bring that level to where, hey, we're not in school anymore. We're going to have some fun, and then put the guard down, so then one day I was in Kansas, and saw the group. I'm looking around, and this is like before I started figuring this out. I started calling schools all over the country, but nobody would book me. The first school was like Oklahoma, Kansas. People that I live in New Jersey, nobody would let me in. So one school let me in. I said, let's do it. And I went. I didn't have any money to like buy all the. I wasn't there yet, so I didn't have anything to do. So all I had was like copies of my book in 2022, and I started asking questions, and the kid answered the question. I gave him a book, and then I noticed how the kid felt when he got the book that he answered. Then I saw another kid. Then all of a sudden I saw 50 hands, 100 hands, and I'm like, wait a minute, this might be the door to get them to listen to what I'm saying. Yes, everyone's got a great message when they go speak, but to deliver the message and connect with the kids, a different story. So then I walked into one school and I wrapped up some t-shirts and rubber bands and I started throwing them. And then I started to realize the real situation. And then I started putting on music, and then it became like this crazy, like the first 20 minutes is we're just throwing things across and wristbands, and people are helping me and slingshots and everything because that's what life's all about, right? You got to have fun. And then it's the message, and the kids are getting the message while they're having fun. And that's the most special for kids. You got to have fun. That changes everything. And when I'm done with all these assemblies, I always say the real assembly is at the end when the kids come up, right? And that's when they're the most vulnerable. That's when they open up. That's when they tell me everything. And when they come up to me, they tell me, like just the other day, this kid said, hey, I am a new person. You just validated everything I've ever worried about, and they gave me a hug. And then they tell me, I get kids that tell me, hey, I wanted to end my life and now I don't. And they give me a hug, You never know. And what I've learned from doing this is you never know what someone's going through. There's 1,000 kids, 500. You don't know what anyone's going through. So I give it my all at all these assemblies. And I know how important it is when someone comes up, because that's why I stay there. That's why I asked the schools for 2 hours. I said, because I know how hard it is to come up to someone and tell someone how they feel. I know from my talk, they're feeling so like the weight's off their shoulder. They feel like someone sees them. They feel like they tell me they're not alone anymore. I mean, there's so many. I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs when I'm done. And then a lot of them are on my testimonials on my website. But they come up to me, and I know that moment for them to come up to me is super important. And I know how they're looking at me, some guy with 1 million followers online, right? And they think that I'm like this famous guy, but I'm just a regular guy, right? But I know how they see me, especially in that moment. So I give them like my attention. I look at them and I ask them, I say, how's life? Tell me everything right there in the huddle, you know? And they tell me everything right there. And then I talk to them, I give them a hug, I sign their forehead, their book, their shoe, whatever. But right in that moment, you can see that they're like, hey, I'm going to be okay. You know, and then the kids that maybe are a little bit more scared to come up and open up, they always send me a DM, always. So you never know how many kids you impact because but a lot of them, and you know, I'm not alone. They think that right now is forever and it's never going to get better. You know, everybody, and I show them, everyone's struggling, right? Some struggle in school, struggle at home life. Some struggle with things we never talk about in our own mind. Everyone's in there struggling, and that's our greatest gift. It really, what I've noticed after doing like 300 of these events all over the country is that it brings everyone together. Hey, we're not alone. We all struggle, but we're all going to make it. No matter where you come from, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what you had to overcome, we're going to be okay. And let's keep going. And then it's just like this big, like, it's awesome. It's really, and it has evolved to that, you know, like, I remember speaking my first time ever. I didn't know what to say, how to say it, how to do it, because I never did it. But I had to get up there and mess up and try it, or I would never have learned. And thank God I did that. And I was scared out of my mind to do it. And I just had the courage to get up there and do it, because it's scary to get up and speak, especially when like you've never done it. And my first school was 700 kids. I never did it before. I just did it. But I learned the hard way. And I think learning the hard way is always the best way, you know, when it comes to that, taking chances, betting on yourself. Because if I didn't bet on myself, I wouldn't be able to help all these kids. And that was in my mind. I said, if I don't do this, I'll never be able to help these kids. And that's my mission. And when I go to a school, it's like, hey, how many of kids can I get to understand exactly what I'm saying? And if I can get 1,000 kids to come running up, I know I did something, you know, and it's all about them. So it's really it's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much about high school, middle school kids right now. I've learned so much about even myself and my message. So I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better, and I'm still trying to connect with them more. But it's been life changing for me and them. You know, like it feels good. Like when I go home and I fly home, I read those DMs. I'm like mission complete. You know, that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Like this is good.
And I mean, it's clear that the mission that you set out on has created a ripple effect. And now I hear all of these interviewers also on Fox News, USA Today, send their children your motivational videos that you do actually right here in your car. And
Right here, yeah.
right in your car, yeah, exactly. And it's super inspirational. And I want to take you back to a thing that you said about how you DM'd all the motivational speakers and all of them didn't reply back. Now, if the person listening right now is a child that looks up to you and they think, you know, they really want to get in touch with you and they want to have your advice on something. You say that your goal is to make up for lost time, to help students believe in themselves now, today, not later. What are some tools or habits that help you build yourself back brick by brick?
So and I answer every DM. Anyone that DMs me, even speakers now too, like that are trying to get into my space now that I've done since I've been doing this for like I've been working at this for the last 8 years, but now like people know me more now. But it was 8 years like of like nobody watching. I get speakers every day. How are you doing that? I say I write back, what's your cell? That's all I ask them, and they give me their cell and I call them. I just call them. That's it. Cause I know that's all I wanted. I just wanted a phone call. That's all I wanted. And I always go, what's your cell? And they go, are you serious? And they give me the cell. But if someone reaches out, what I tell the kids, I say, look at your life. Look at everything in your life that's hard right now. Look at the things that maybe you're not good at. Look at where you're stuck, right? Do everything you can to do something you don't think you can do. Do that. All the things you think you can't do, go do it. Whether it's school, whether it's rock climbing, whether it's selling windows door to door, whatever it is, whatever you're scared of, public speaking, whatever it is, go do that. Go do that. And then on the other side, that's where your confidence is. That's where you get your confidence. I tell them, like, look at your life. You might be there right now, wherever you're at. You might be in a situation you're like, this is so hard for me. You're on the right track. Don't go the opposite direction. And brick by brick, you will learn about yourself because you gotta pay your dues there for your own self, for yourself. All of that, everything that you become in these moments, you will use later to your advantage. But it's right now, you have to do this. You have to. But if you don't and you go the opposite direction, you never know who you are. And we got one life, right? We got one life, and you gotta let it rip, right? You gotta let it rip. You gotta let it rip, and you gotta go for it. And we don't get back time. So I think it's so important, like for people to take those chances on themselves. Like, because I know, come on, think about it. One day, like hopefully we make it to 90 years old. If I can make it to 90 years old and sit there and say, hey, every idea, every chance, I went for everything. Like in my life right now, I can say everything, I go for everything 100%, no matter what it is. I don't care. I don't think about what can go wrong. I'm good. I'm good with it. But if you don't, when you get older, you'll look at your life and you'll say, I should have done this. I should have believed in myself here. I should have went for it. And that's regret. And it's regret because we don't think we can do it. But it's not about thinking we can do it. It's about going after things you don't think you can do because that builds courage. And that's what I tell the kids to do.
And I'm super excited now because I hear that you're super busy launching your new project of yours, your new book. Don't forget the kids in
Yes.
the back. Can you pitch
Yes.
this new project to the audience and in 1 minute tell them why you're excited about writing it and what you think is so important that they're going to go ahead and when is it able to pre-order?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still writing it. So for me to write, I'm not the best at writing. So I got to be like in the zone to write. So when I'm feeling, I go write. That's it. That's how I wrote my first book. So I literally type out all this. And my book is titled "Don't Forget About the Kids in the Back" because I was one of those kids. And when I go to school, I ask them, "Why do you sit in the back? Why do you sit in the back?" And they all say, "Oh, to be invisible, so I don't get called on because I don't want anyone to see me." Right? And it works. In school, being a teacher, right, they have so many kids and they care about their kids, but it's hard to see everyone all the time and remember, right? It's just hard. And they have their own life, they're stressed. There's a lot of things going on just being a teacher, right? So I'm writing this book called Don't Forget About the Kids in the Back because I want the kids that are quiet, the kids that are getting into trouble, maybe the kids that are hiding, or maybe the kids that are not quiet, in the middle, get good grades, right? They're kind of in the middle, but they're sitting in the back and they're kind of just flowing through life but they almost feel like they're not seen. I want all these, maybe it's the kids that are coming in late and never making it to class and then getting sent to the principal's office, right? Whatever it is, it's the kids that are forgotten, right? It's not the kids that are getting straight A's and raising their hand. Everyone wants to teach them, right? Because they're there. It makes the class lively and the teacher feels good about it, right? It's normal. But don't forget about the kids in the back that are hiding, that aren't getting into trouble. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to hide. They don't want to be invisible, right? They're going through something and they need you to see it and pull it out of them because I get 1 hour, 2 hours with the kids and then I'm gone, right? But when the kids pour into the assembly, I watch everyone. I watch where they sit. I watch the kids that come in with their hoods up. I watch the kids that come in with their earphones on. I watch how they participate. I watch if they stand up. I watch everything. And those are the kids. I focus on everyone, but I really focus on them. And I grab them and I make sure they get a book. And I make sure I give out one necklace. And I see the kids that need to be seen. So, and because I know how important it is in that book, I'm writing that book for the importance of giving these kids in a moment where they're finally seen. And I know the teacher has the ability to do that every single day. And maybe it's just like, hey, I like that shirt. Where'd you get that shirt? Make them feel good, right? And then maybe you're gonna see them raise their hand. Maybe ask them, hey, how was your weekend? And they'll talk to you. Then you're going to see them. So don't forget about those kids. Don't just be like, oh, that kid's just, a bad kid. That kid's just a jerk. That's not the case, right? That kid's dealing with something, and this is how they're dealing with it. If you're teaching them more than math and English, right? They're a human, and they need you, and you could be the reason why you're so impressionable in this moment, they will remember you forever. That's why I'm writing the book because I remember sitting in class and like, yeah, I got myself in trouble. I goofed around. I showed up late, but it was all because of other reasons. I didn't want to be that, right? But I was trying to avoid school. I didn't feel comfortable, everything. And I remember the teachers that made me feel comfortable. But if someone can remember every day, hey, I don't know what that kid's going through, right? I don't know how hard it was for him to show up today, but he's here or she's here. I'm going to make them feel special. And if they can do that every day to these students, they'll change their whole life and they'll see a huge difference. So that's why I'm writing the book. I'm still writing it. I'm hoping it's done by the summer. Because I don't know when it's done, I just keep going. I look at it and then I'm like, all right, it's done. So that's where I'm at, but I'm excited for it. Then I have a lot of other things I want to do, a lot of big ideas I'm working on. And I'm always coming up with new ideas going for it. So I got so many things in my brain and I'm just trying to do them all. That's the hard part.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to all that you're going to put out there. And Jordan, because I started the podcast with you talking directly with the person listening, I want to end it in the same way. So if you could speak directly with a person listening or watching this right now, what would be the end message or one advice that you would like to leave them with?
I'd say the end message, I would say, hey, look at your life right now. Look at your life and look at everything you had to overcome to get to this point in your life. Look at it. Look at what you had to do. Look, you're here now, right? You're the only person that can live the life that you just lived. And look what you've done. You overcame everything that you never thought you could. You did that. Look back and look. And now look at the opportunities. You have opportunities, right? They're there. And only you can see them because of what you had to overcome. Now go grab them and go do what you got to do and believe in yourself. And that's what I would tell anyone to look if they're at their life and they're stuck right now and they've had a bad row of bad luck, right? And things that didn't work out. But look at everything you had to overcome. You're so strong, you're so ready. But the truth is, even when you're not ready, you're ready. And you just got to go for it and you will learn along the way and everything always works out if you bet on yourself. So that's my final message for anyone that's ever listening, that's ever doubted themselves and never thought they were good enough. You're ready, you're good enough, you have your special gifts, you overcame everything in your life to get here. Now go use it and go do it because, time does not slow down for anybody, right? And you got time, so go do it. And then you got to be grateful. Like I always try to be grateful for like everything. Like things don't work out for me too. Like thing doesn't always work out. I fail everything. I mess everything up. I forget things. I forget what time things are. I make so many mistakes. It's insane. But I wake up every day. I'm like, all right, the sun's up, right? I'm up. I got some coffee. That's it. My kids are right here. Like everything's. I look at a couple things that I like. I'm very grateful for. Like, and that's it. And then the rest is whatever. You can only control what you can control. And your mindset and the way you see yourself is what you can control. The rest you can't.
Absolutely. I completely love that. It's amazing. I think you're doing amazing things and you rock, Jordan. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for being
so
on the
much.
SMARTA Podcast.
Oh, you got it. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for bringing attention to it. I mean, everyone needs to, these podcasts are great because people need to hear real stories, right? From everyone all over the world. And because that's how people relate to stories. And if they can hear stories like this, they can go, hey, wait, that could be me, right? Now I'm going to go write my story. And that's what this is all about. It's all about getting the stories out there for other people. It's a domino effect to keep writing their stories.
Yeah. Have you been fired up? Because I was just sitting here completely mesmerized, inspired, and ready to take action towards my dreams. And you can follow his journey and whatever new things he's going to come up with at jordantoma.com. And I'll link down below the link to Amazon for his book, I'm Just a Kid with an IEP. And I'm just super excited that you got to listen to this episode. And if you've learned something new or if you felt heard and you were nodding your way through this episode while you were listening to it, just go ahead and share this episode, this podcast with a friend that maybe, sits at the back of the class or your mom, just to give her that, support. And if nobody told you this today, I want to be the first that told you that I believe in you and I truly think that you can create the life of your dreams. I'm Sonia Marta and I cannot wait to see you here next week. Bye-bye.